Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and the word for today is bye-bye. Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I'm on my way one final time to work with the Molly Maid people to clean up my house one last time. And when I finished, if I remember, which I hope I will be leaving my keys and shutting the door for the final time. So, I really wanted to say that I really appreciate all the comments you've been making about the fact you appreciate the fact I've stayed real while I have been doing these vlogs. And you know, I want if there is a lesson, I want the lesson to be that it is normal. I think it would be horrific if I left a place that I had loved for 20 years and not had any emotion about it. Really, I think that would be really weird. You're remembering that I'm not only leaving a house, I'm, not going to have the security of having Yvonne downstairs and caring about my well-being. There are a lot of little bits to this. And the fact that she won't be down there for me to care about as well, in a different way. If she's got a problem with Papa, she can't text me anymore. Well, actually, she still could. But, in the reality of the life we've been living, if there was a major problem with Papa, she would, and she did it very rarely, I want to say this, but she would text me and say, I'm really sorry to ask you, but Papa is having a little conniption about something. Could you pop down there and just help him? And I did it willingly because I know she would do the same for me, and because it's Papa. So I've got to think about it, though. I'm still just 15 minutes away, so if she still needed me to go, I would go, that. So here I am, and I'm very, very appreciative of all the comments. It's interesting that the word hoarder brought out what it did in viewers, and I thought there was a great question from somebody whose name I will check when I edit this, about what is the difference between being a hoarder and having too much stuff. And I think that's a very good question. A hoarder, in my mind, it's just my definition, and I know I'm biased, but my definition of a hoarder is when they've got things up to the ceiling and you can't walk anywhere, or there is one tiny little place where you can walk. I have too much stuff, and I do think there is a difference. And that's what I'm doing, is as I empty each box, as you know, because you've heard me talk about it, as I empty each box, I put everything on the kitchen counter and I look at it pretty clinically, and I have allocated certain areas for certain things, and if there are too many things to go into that area, I'm purging. Now sometimes I have to take it all out and look at it again and go, okay, what am I going to purge? But that's what I'm doing, and I can't do it very quickly because I don't have the ability to get rid of the garbage very quickly. Actually, I must look into that, whether if I have an extra bag, whether they'll take it. They probably would. I'll look into that. So, a good point, right? What is the difference between a hoarder and somebody who has too much stuff? Now, some of you are going to say there isn't any difference. And I believe that there is. One is an illness. One is an illness, and the other is just too much stuff. So here's the other thing. somebody else made, you see, I love it when you guys make these comments. Somebody else made a comment that she's a crafter and she understands totally. Now, if you notice, how quickly did I get my bedroom back together? And with the exception of the total gym that needs to be repositioned and some clothes I need to donate, you know, the bedroom's done. So there isn't too much stuff in the bedroom. Now, if you look at the dining room, living room, it isn't all unpacked, but I know where it's going. And remember that a lot of those things are delicate, so they're overpacked in terms of stuff. So I'm pretty sure that the dining room area is going to be fine. So if you really look at the photographs that you've been seeing, or the video that you've been seeing, the two rooms where there are three places where I've got too many boxes, unquote. My craft room, and my studio, and of course the back shed. So I think that if I unpack everything and the house looks organized and not cluttered when I finished, it will not be that I'm a hoarder. It'll be because I do hobbies that take up a lot of space and a lot of things. You know, art takes up a lot of space, there's no doubt about it. But I'm looking forward to getting that better organized. That's part of my challenge for the year, is how do I get rid of some of the stuff that I've got in the art room and organize what I've got a lot better without spending a whole lot of money. And that's the other trick. But a great, I thought, great observation that if you do crafts, you're going to have a lot of stuff. If you do art, you're going to have a lot of stuff. And by the way, if you happen to be a woodworker and somebody who fixes stuff, you're going to have a lot of tools and stuff. And so that is what is in... By the way, I'm not crying. I should have mentioned that earlier. I've got an allergy problem this morning for some reason. So my goal is just to get it all organized. That's really what it is. If it looks like crud when I've finished, then yes, I've got too much stuff. If I've got the room to organize it and make it look under control, then no, it's just the stuff I need to do the hobbies that I choose to do for what's left of my life. And I'd like you all to remember that I am 73 now. So I don't know how many years I have of being able to do things that, like art, or crafts, and use those sort of things. I don't know how many years I've got left of that, but I do know that one of my goals for next week is definitely to get my total gym set up, because I need to stretch out these muscles of mine that are starting to atrophy. Oh, atrophy, another nice word. These muscles of mine that are starting to atrophy in some way. And if I don't use them, I'm going to lose them. And so I need, I've been doing a lot of work this last couple of weeks. I've been putting in a lot of steps in the last week for me. But I've got to keep that up to be healthier. The other thing I'm going to do for myself, and I am going to do it just as soon as I get this week over with, I'm going to make an appointment with my chiropractor and just get an adjustment, because I know my back is out. you know, I've felt the problems with it. I have having more and more problem lifting my one leg, which means that either I've got a major problem going on, or else, you know, that's just because my back is out and that those muscles are not releasing to let me lift them. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's the right terminology, but you know what I mean. The muscles are not working in a way that benefits lifting of leg. So one of you will come up with the right expression for that. So that's what I'm busy working on for next week. And quite honestly, by this time tomorrow, the keys will have already been handed over. And the next phase of my life in, you know, that boat has sailed this time tomorrow. So, amazing, right? So I will see you guys either while I am cleaning or after the cleaning's been done. Well, it's now close to 2 o'clock, and I've done over 6,000 steps. Heart rate, resting heart rate is 80. Pretty good, considering I've been cleaning decks and up and down stairs. I'm very proud of myself for that. It shows that my heart is really doing a good job. It's not overexerting itself. So I'm fitter than I think I am sometimes. I'm on my way back to Sunshine Cottage because I have a car full of stuff. You know, you think you've emptied the place? Yeah, right. Okay. They've messed with the road people, and I had to for a second. You know, they've got you going in the wrong direction. Yeah, there's an arrow that's, yeah, never mind. That's why I had to concentrate a lot, because I'm going, I hope I'm doing the right thing here. You know, when you're going in the opposite direction of the arrows, you know, it's a bit worrying. But apparently I did the right thing. I got okay from the lollipop person. Alright, so I'm on my way back because I've got a car full of crud, and I'm going to be emptying it and then turning around and coming back. Apparently Molly Maid said I failed miserably on the dirty house side, which I thought was really cute. But you know, I was glad that I sent Clarence around quickly this morning, because that also, I think, helped a little bit. I'm going to be bringing him home on the last run. So I did both decks, which I'm proud of that, and I swept the forecourt. So none of it is perfect, but you know, I keep reminding myself, for a 73-year-old, I have done a lot of work, and I have done my best, and that is all I can do. I'm pretty okay that most of the stuff has gone. I noticed there's some recycling there, and the truth is that if the owners complain, I'm going to tell them, just give it to my neighbor. He'll get rid of it for me. You know, because he will. Because they pick up whatever you have there. They don't, you know, they don't complain about how many bags you have. As long as it's, you know, properly wrapped and everything, they're happy. So that's all recycling stuff. So they'll be happy to take it. But if they've got an issue, I'm going to tell Yvonne just huck it over the line and then tell Roger, the Dodger next door, to just add it to his pile on Sunday. I'm doing pretty well emotionally. I noticed that today I went in there and it's no longer has that feel to it because it's empty and it doesn't look pretty, and it, you know, all those sort of things. So it, you know, all those things that make a house a home are gone, and now it's just walls and floors and somebody else's now. So, and that's I think the first time that I've literally just walked away and just went, no, I'm okay. Now, whether I will still be the same on the next run, I don't know. I think probably so. I'm going to text Yvonne and just ask her if it's okay if I don't say goodbye, because I don't want it to be. I'd rather it be see you soon. That would help me and her. So that's another thing I'm doing to try and make this a lot easier for us both. It's still got some emotion around it, hasn't it? Yeah. Okay. And quite right too. Yeah, we've looked after one another for 20 years. We've got history. So I'll see you on the way back. Well, this is a really strange feeling. This is going back for what probably will be the last time as an owner. And whoops, I brought some extra cubies and stuff with me just to pack up the last stuff. I've still got some stuff in the fridge from when the movers were there, and I've, you know, just a couple of things. They're not a lot now. I took most of it in the previous trip. So we are nearly done like dinner. And you know, the most amazing thing is that tomorrow I'm going to do broadcasts, and you know, I had thought that tomorrow I would sleep in and just enjoy the moment. And I know on Saturday I've got the previous owners of Sunshine Cottage coming to do a couple of bits that they promised they would, and I believe them, and they're going to come on Saturday afternoon. But Sunday, I'm definitely sleeping in on Sunday, people. Now, my next challenge is that I really do want to learn how to keep more regular hours. You know, I'm a night owl, so I'm rarely go to bed before midnight. But as I said previously, the last couple of nights, I assure you, I have gone to bed and I have zonked out. I mean, there was no, you know, I've got my tablet there, and I both, you know, last night again, I started to play that. Actually, I lie. I don't like lying to you. But I just did. Now you're wondering, what did you lie about, Sal? Well, let me tell you. Last night I actually did put on a movie and I watched it. And it's actually a movie I'd seen before, but I enjoyed it, and I'd forgotten that I'd seen it until, you know, you see little things and you go, oh yeah, I've seen this before. You know, the funniest little things, isn't that amazing? You know, there'll be a plant in a funny place, or you know, a clock on the wall that you really like or something, and you go, I've seen this before, I've seen that clock before, you know. And anyway, so you know, the story didn't ring a bell, but you know, the other bits did. So, have you ever felt that happen? Anyway, so but I watched it all the way through and then zonked out. So I'm proud of myself for that, and I would have actually slept another hour, except the conveyancer woke me up at 9 o'clock. And you know, she's just phoned me. She just phoned me to just now at 2:45 to find out who my insurer was, because apparently my buyer has not bothered to get the insurance that they need for the house. Yeah, this is why we planned a month in ahead, people. This is why we planned a month ahead. And so I'm not laughing because it's not fun. The stress they must be under is immense. So they wanted to know who my previous insurer was, and I said, you know, I wouldn't recommend that they do that. If they are BCA members, and it's very possible they are, it's actually cheaper, and it's like AAA in the States. You know, if you buy your home insurance with them as well, you know, you get a better deal. So I said I'd recommend they go there. So as I'm sitting outside my home, because I can't go inside and sit because there's nowhere to sit except on the staircase, I'm sitting inside my Jeep, and I have got poutine. I think I deserve that by now, don't you? So I thought you would, for those of you who've never seen it, that's what it looks like. It is fries with gravy and then cheese curds on top. It sounds disgusting, but oh, it's so good. You see, and it's all sort of stringy and very stringy. I thought you'd like to see them. Well, it's all done. And it's as clean as it's going to be. And it's time to move on. You know, it's been really important for me to be able to talk to you all about this. And I again thank you. Because one of the realities of life is that if you can talk about things as they're happening to you, it makes them a lot easier to cope with. You know, the process of coping with it is much easier because you get to let out your feelings and your emotion, and it just gets to be so much easier. And I hope you've seen that even though there's been emotion attached to it, the journey we have taken together over the last month has been a really important one for me, and I hope that some of you have learned some lessons from it. And if you have, let me know in the comments below what it is that you learned from watching me do what I've just done. And maybe think about what would you advise your mom or dad you know, to do after you've watched what I have been through. And remember that before I did this month-long transition, I spent a year downsizing. I know it didn't look like it, but I did. And even then, look how horrendous it all was. But I'm not that concerned because I can, yeah, I am already working on, you know, purging the next lot of it. And it is my goal not to fall into that trap again, although I know it will be difficult just by virtue of the fact that I like to repurpose and recycle things. And I think that's a problem as well for people who are creative, and maybe my creative viewers can let me know about that one. We see future uses on almost anything. You know, a milk jug, an empty gallon or 4-liter milk jug, to me is, you know, it's a waste to throw it away because it's the most perfect planter for seeds and things. You know, and so it hurts me to throw one away, and I throw a lot away, believe you me. But you know, I think if you're a creative person, you can see uses for so many things. And that's why we end up with a lot of stuff, because it's like, no, I know I can use that a different way. and pay a lot of money to move it. So I still find the question so interesting, that one about, you know, the difference between being a hoarder and just having too much stuff. And you know, the more I thought about that, the more I thought, you know, there is a difference. And having too much stuff is stage one of being a hoarder, obviously. But it's an interesting process. And you know, what I did, and what I will continue to do, if you remember, was to take every drawer and say, okay, fine, take everything out, only put half of it back. And if you think about it, I've already done that. There were a couple of closets that I didn't do it to, that I will do in the unpack. So, that part of my life is now over. And we will pray that everything goes well with the money, and that I think it's as of 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I am good. When I say I'm good, it's, you know, all the work is over. The money will be either already available to me to pick up, or it will be on Friday. Been a long journey, hasn't it? And I am tired. You know I am. I mean, you've known. I'm pretty sure that those of you who've watched me for a long time know that I have been overly tired for the past month. And I've just heard from my friend Marnie, who a lot of you know, with Grover. They're coming to visit on Monday to help me unpack. How kind is that? And really, I will have as much fun just having Marnie over and playing with Grover. You know, I don't necessarily need her to help me unpack. I might get her to help me move a couple of things rather than unpack. And I want her input about what to do about the dining room. That's really a little challenging for me. So, we're good. And I did it. And now is the time to work out what I'm going to do. First of all, you know, I agree with all of you. It's interesting how many of you have said to me, don't rush to unpack everything. You know, just do it slowly. And I really do find that just putting a box, you know, taking a box and emptying the whole box onto my kitchen counter, and then I just keep looking at it and going, yeah, no, junk, yeah, put it away, boom, boom, boom. Okay, next box, everything on the counter. And it goes very quickly. I actually end up doing 3 or 4 boxes in a very short space of time. And I don't even notice it, because what I do is I will put it out. And first of all, half of it needs to go in the dishwasher. That's what I found out. So, you know, I just load up the dishwasher. And then the other half, I sort of look at it and go, okay, fine, that's can go. But, you know, I will, in between, I will go and watch, you know, something on television or something, or edit the vlog. And then when I come back, it looks different. You know, I can make a different decision. And so, by the way, I've hit rush hour. I've never had that before. Rush hour on the way home. Or there's been an accident. Because this is not moving traffic. It reminds me of Los Angeles, although it's not as bad. Okay, so I'm sure you don't want to sit in the traffic jam with me, so I will see you when I get home. Or not. What I do want to say to all of you is these difficult things in life, I hope you've learned that if you do them one step at a time and make sure that you plan it, you will never plan perfectly. Oh, that was so cute. That was a call from Doug to see how I was doing. Isn't that wonderful? So that is, you know, Marnie's coming, and now Doug's saying that he will arrange with my other son, James, to come back and now help me on the other end. Isn't that wonderful? I'm so blessed with them. You know, it's interesting. I think it would be fair to say that you know who your friends are when you move, right? and you know who genuinely cares. And you know, it was really funny because I can remember at one stage Yvonne was asking me something about, is Dougie coming? I said, oh, Doug will be here. Doug knows I need the help. He will be here. Well, do you think you ought to phone him and check? I said, no. No, it's important to Doug. Therefore, he, you know, that is the difference that I wanted you all to understand. There are certain people in your life that you do not have to remind, because once they've said yes, they will be there. They will be there unless, you know, hell freezes over or something. But you know, you don't have to phone them and go, are we still on for, you know that they're still on if they said yes. And I like those sort of people. I don't know about you. Marnie is like that. Doug is like that. You know, it's just like, I don't need to ask them twice. It's just like, did you say yes? Okay. That means you'll be there. And so, you know, it's really important. And the other thing that you all will learn is that just because a lot of people say that they will help you in something like this doesn't mean that they will. So many people have good intent but really don't want to do it, and because they really don't want to do it, they'll always have a reason why they couldn't do it. And those are the people that said, oh yeah, sure, I'll come and help. I'll try and make sure that happens. And if they use the word try in there, you know they're not coming. I've always found that to be true. And in fact, I will say to people, oh, you're not planning on coming then? Well, yeah. I said, no, because you said try. People who plan on coming say, I'll be there. There's a whole difference. And it's so true, really. So, that phase of my life is now over. And I am so thankful. I looked at the house. I looked at the house as I drove away. I didn't think I was going to do this. And I thanked it for 20 happy years. And I also wished it to look after the people that are coming in as well as it looked after me. So I left it with all the good vibes I could possibly manage, because I want them to be happy there too. And I'm good. And I'm hoping you are too. And I hope that you can understand transitions are always going to be a little difficult. And I've always said to people, you know, it hurts so much because you care so much. If you didn't care, about things, it wouldn't hurt. And there you have another memory. That's a bottle of beer from Harrods in London. And obviously that brings me back to my heritage of having grown up in England. So a couple more memories. That hat, for some reason, was one of my favorite hats of all time, and I used to wear hats a lot. I guess I was quite elegant at one stage of my life. And the other hat that I hang on to was this one, and it probably won't stay there. And the reason I hung on to this one is it is the hat I was wearing when I arrived in Canada 35 years ago.